Patrick Mahomes, torn ACL. It's in his ninth season. He's won 3 Super Bowls. There was a guy named Tom Brady in his ninth season, after winning 3 Super Bowls, had a knee injury. But as I've explained, there's some major differences. Tom's 2007 season, 50 TDs, MVP of the league, revealed himself as the best quarterback in the league. Patrick Mahomes is coming off his worst season, 62% completion, 22 TDs, 11 interceptions. Are you concerned that we'll never see Patrick Mahomes at his highest level again?
This has been a 2, 3 year decline, and now this is rock bottom. I don't know if it gets any lower. Jason, another big difference. The Tom Brady injury, which was caused by who? Bernard Pollard. That was the opening weekend, I believe, of
Yeah, I
2008. This
was
is
there.
what, week 14? So we're talking about the timeline of the recovery. There's no guarantee that Patrick Mahomes actually takes the first snap underneath center in week 1 in about 9, 10 months. Really, we don't know how bad this injury is. So that's another stark difference. Jason, I think people were too quick to anoint Mahomes as an all-time great, or certainly among the Mount Rushmore, even with the
Mm.
Super Bowls. I
Hold,
really
stop,
believe that.
stop the
Yeah.
presses right now. I just want to make sure everybody knows we got a historical moment going on right now. Steve
What's
Kim
that?
is removing Patrick Mahomes from the Mount Rushmore
No,
as we
no, I'm
speak.
not.
Oh, you're
No, I'm
not.
not. No, because I
Oh.
never had him in there. How can you remove something that was never in there?
Well, the rest
I
of us
don't
had
get
him
this.
in there. You're moving him out of there,
I
but
don't care
go
about.
ahead.
I don't care about the rest. You can have the rest of America on in the other segments. I believe that he was in the top 10. He was trending towards some great things. There was a time, probably around 2020 to 2022, maybe 23. I felt that the Chiefs and Mahomes were must-see TV, much like the Golden State Warriors during the peak of Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Splash Brothers. But we have to be honest about this. The Kansas City Chiefs are tough to watch and they're very frustrating. The way they get every call, the way they sneak out games, and this decline. Now, Jason, can I give myself credit?
Please.
Doesn't matter, I am. There was somebody who said 2, 3 months ago that the Chiefs were a fraud. And you know what? It didn't look good early. They put together some wins. People were heckling me. Well, well, well. Fraud alert detected. Fraud alert recognized. Last year, they played an inordinate amount of one possession games, right? And I think they were 11-1, something that was almost beyond the realm of like proper odds. This year, it's flipped. So this decline really should not be a surprise to anybody, both individually and from a team perspective.
Steve, I want to circle back to the Mahomes aspect of this.
Yes.
Going into this season, give me the 5 quarterbacks or 7 or how many ever you think were better than Mahomes.
Okay, first of all, the Mount Rushmore is 4. So,
Gotcha.
first of all, greatest of all time, Cool Joe Montana. Wow, that guy ruined my childhood as a rampant, but he was good. Hated him, but I know the greatness. Number 2, you know, Brady, I got to give it to him. I still don't think he's better than Joe. I think Joe had better feet, better legs, more mobility and athleticism, played in a real violent era of football, or more violent. This is where it gets a little bit tough because now do you start going with Johnny Unitas, who was the father of modern day quarterbacking, as far as I'm concerned. Otto Graham was the all time winner. But again, that's a tough, very, very tough era to really judge. I have always thought Roger Staubach was a little bit underrated. That man called his own plays, and he was athletic, and he could drive the ball deep. Captain Comeback was always someone that I respected. John Elway, now I know me and you are going to agree on this. When it comes to natural physical tools, and it, all things being equal, if you had one drive with 2 timeouts and 1 minute to go, and you needed to go 75 yards, John Elway would be my guy. And the fact that he actually went to 5 Super Bowls, winning 2, and the first 3 with teams that were overmatched physically at the end, I never held that against him. So right off the top of my head, those guys,
You didn't
Dan
mention
Marino,
Dan
Dan Marino,
Marino.
the
You
Dan
didn't mention.
Marino, greatest natural pocket passer I have ever seen. Okay, so right off the bat, you just asked me that impromptu. Those are the guys. Look, does Mahomes have a place in there? Yes, but this was my biggest problem. It reminded me of Mike Tyson after he beat Michael Spinks in 1988. I was just a kid. I actually heard a lot of respected boxing pundits say, "Hey, is it Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis, or Mike Tyson that's the greatest heavyweight?" And even then, as a kid, I was like, "This is a little bit premature. Let's let the rest of the career develop." That is all I said then, and that is what I'm saying now.
I I can't say that I had Mahomes in my Mount Rushmore, but I didn't have a problem with the people that did and do. I do think now, clearly, particularly given these last 3 years and how it's kind of gone backwards these last 3 years, Mahomes has some work to do to get back to the level of respect because it's not like he's 35, he's just 30. And we've seen Brady set a standard of what you can do post 30, that there will be some pressure on him to come back and play at a high level for 2 or 3 years. And the problem or the real concern is I'm not sure if Andy Reid will be there to help him.
That's a very, very cogent point. Being with Andy Reid, the quarterback whisperer, that makes you 10% better right off the bat. Just look at that guy's track record. By the way, another guy, we're looking at peak performance. Aaron Rodgers has to be in that top 10. I get it. The last few years have not been at the standard. The man won 4 MVPs. And how can we forget Peyton Manning? I mean, that guy has to be in there. So again, this is the biggest issue I have with Mahomes, and maybe it's not all his fault. There's too many games I watch. Drops back. Ball does not get off on time. Does not, and it's just helter skelter. And then sometimes it's not what your eyes see, it's what the statistics tell you. And that can even be deceiving. Look at a lot of his box scores the last 3 years, Jason. I see games where he has over 35, 40 pass attempts and about 280 yards passing. That's inefficient. I'm not a big believer in just pure analytics for football, but the one stat that has held through the test of time: yards per passing attempt. And if you are not at 8 or above, you're just dinking and dunking.
It's there's some pressure on Mahomes and for his legacy. We'll